You're staring at a goblin shark. Everything seems normal as a pink prehistoric nightmare can look. Without warning, its face explodes forward. The jaws shoot out of its skull like some kind of biological crossbow, grab whatever poor creature is in front of it, and snap back into place. All in under a second. Sound like bad CGI from a creature feature? Nope. This is real. And it gets weirder. The goblin shark has been skulking around the ocean floor for 125 million years. That's 60 million years before T-Rex showed up to the party. While dinosaurs were busy going extinct, the goblin shark just kept doing its thing in the deep, dark corners of the ocean, where nobody bothered it. It survived whatever killed the dinosaurs, shrugged off ice ages, and didn't even bother evolving much because, honestly, why fix what isn't broken? Today, it's probably the strangest shark in the ocean. And considering that list includes a shark with a head shaped like a hammer and another one that glows in the dark, that's saying something. Let's start with the obvious. The goblin shark looks like someone tried to design a shark after only hearing a vague description. It's pink. Not a nice coral pink. More like the color of raw chicken left in the fridge too long. This isn't fashion choice. Down where goblin sharks live, between 890 and 4,300 feet below the surface, there's basically no light. Zero. Zilch. At that depth, color means absolutely nothing, because nobody can see it anyway. So the goblin shark's skin is essentially translucent, and what you're seeing is the blood vessels underneath. The ocean's most unintentional goth phase. But the color is just the warm-up act. Let's talk about that nose. Technically called a rostrum, this blade-like protrusion juts out from the shark's face like it's perpetually trying to cut in line. It's flat, elongated, and looks like someone glued a spatula to a shark's face. Some specimens have rostrums that are 20% of their entire body length. Imagine if your nose was 1.5 feet long. Actually, don't. That's nightmare fuel. Scientists weren't exactly sure what this bizarre schnoz was for at first. Best pool table cue ever? Underwater jousting? Turns out it's packed with electroreceptors called ampulli of Lorenzini. Fancy name for biological metal detectors. These sensors pick up the electrical fields generated by living creatures. Every time your muscles contract, every time your heart beats, you're basically broadcasting your location. And in the pitch-black abyss where the goblin shark hunts, that rostrum turns it into a living radar system. The goblin shark waves that ridiculous nose around like someone scanning for coins on a beach, except it's hunting for fish, squid, and crustaceans hiding in the darkness. When something registers on its electrical field detector, that's when the real show begins. Here's where things get properly horrifying. Most sharks have to get pretty close to their prey and commit to the attack. They open their jaws, lunge forward. Done. It works, but it's not exactly subtle. The goblin shark said nah to that entire approach and decided to become the ocean's version of those party blowers that shoot out when you blow into them. Except instead of paper, it's launching bone and teeth. The goblin shark's jaws aren't fixed to its skull like yours or mine. Instead, they're connected by elastic ligaments and specialized joints that let the entire jaw structure catapult forward out of its face. When the shark detects prey, it rapidly opens its mouth, and the sudden change in pressure combined with the elastic ligaments literally slingshots the jaws forward. The teeth shoot out, grab the prey, and then snap back into the skull. The whole process takes about 0.3 seconds. Actually, blink and the goblin shark has already eaten something and is looking for dessert. This isn't a small movement. We're talking about the jaws extending up to 3 inches beyond where they normally sit. That might not sound like much, but when you're already right up in something's face, an extra 3 inches of surprise teeth is the difference between close call and goodbye cruel world. To put this in perspective, imagine you're a fish, minding your own business in the dark. You can't see anything. Suddenly you feel a weird sensation, like static electricity. Before you can react, a set of nail-like teeth explode out of the darkness, grab you, and drag you into a pink nightmare. You wouldn't even know what hit you. The teeth themselves are perfectly designed for this ambush strategy. They're long, thin, and needle-like, not for crushing or tearing like a great white. These teeth are meant to impale and grip. Once those jaws shoot forward and the teeth sink in, there's no escape. The prey gets dragged back into the mouth as the jaws retract, probably still wondering what just happened. But here's the kicker. This jaw mechanism isn't just fast, it's also incredibly powerful. Studies have shown that the goblin shark can generate more force during its jaw protrusion than most other sharks can with their entire bite. It's not using the conventional jaw muscles that other sharks rely on. Instead, it's using stored elastic energy. Think of it like a biological rubber band that's been stretched and suddenly released. And unlike other sharks that might miss and have to reorient for another attack, the goblin shark's protrusible jaws give it a much larger strike zone. The prey doesn't have to be perfectly positioned. As long as it's in the general vicinity of that face rocket launcher, it's on the menu. Now you might be wondering how scientists even figured all this out. Goblin sharks aren't exactly easy to study. They live in the deep ocean, rarely come to the surface, and when they do, it's usually because something went wrong for them. Most of what we know comes from dead specimens caught accidentally by deep-sea fishing trawlers. Not ideal for studying behavior, but in 2003, researchers in Japan got lucky. A goblin shark was caught alive and survived long enough in captivity for scientists to observe it feeding. That's when they got the first clear documentation of the jaw protrusion in action. The footage is both mesmerizing and deeply unsettling. The shark approaches food seemingly calm, and then its face just explodes. No warning, no build-up, just instant nightmare. Since then, more observations have trickled in, usually from fishermen who accidentally caught goblin sharks and managed to record them before release. Each video confirms the same thing. This isn't some occasional party trick. This is how goblin sharks hunt. Every single time. The mechanics of how this works are still being studied, but we know the basics. The goblin shark has highly modified hyomandibular cartilages. These are the skeletal elements that connect the jaw to the skull in most sharks. In the goblin shark, they're elongated and extremely flexible. They create a system that stores and releases energy like a biological crossbow. When the shark is at rest, the jaws sit relatively flush with the head. When it's time to feed, specific muscles contract, building tension in the ligaments. The mouth opens slightly, creating a pressure differential. Then, boom, the stored energy releases, the ligaments snap forward, and the jaws shoot out. The whole thing is powered by a combination of elastic recoil and hydraulic pressure from fluid in the shark's tissues. It's the kind of biological engineering that took millions of years to perfect. And it works so well that the goblin shark has barely changed since the Cretaceous period. Why would it? It found a niche in the deep ocean where this strategy is devastatingly effective. Speaking of the deep ocean, let's talk about where these things actually live. Goblin sharks have been found in oceans all over the world. The Atlantic, Pacific, Indian Ocean. They don't discriminate, but they're almost always found in deep water, typically along continental slopes and submarine canyons, places where the ocean floor drops away into the abyss. The depth range is substantial. Most sightings are between 890 feet and 3,150 feet deep, but they've been caught as deep as 4,265 feet. The pressure is crushing. Literally, we're talking about 1,900 pounds per square inch at 4,000 feet. That's like having a small car sitting on every square inch of your body. The goblin shark is built for it, with a soft, flabby body that's more cartilage than muscle. It's not winning any swimming competitions, but it doesn't have to. In the deep ocean, speed is overrated. Surprise is everything. And boy, does the goblin shark lean into the surprise angle. Its entire hunting strategy is based on being an ambush predator. It doesn't chase down prey like a great white or a mako. Instead, it drifts slowly along the ocean floor, waving that ridiculous rostrum back and forth like a metal detector. When it picks up electrical signals from potential prey, it moves in slowly. No sudden movements. No splashing. Just a slow, deliberate approach. Then, when it's close enough, that face cannon deploys. The prey doesn't even see it coming. In the pitch-black depths, the first and last thing many fish experience is the sensation of teeth appearing out of nowhere. The goblin shark's diet reflects this hunting style. Analysis of stomach contents from captured specimens shows they eat a lot of deep-sea fish, squid, and crustaceans. Basically anything slow enough to be ambushed. They're not picky eaters. If it's made of meat and isn't too big to swallow, it's fair game. Interestingly, goblin sharks seem to prefer softer prey. Makes sense when you think about it. Those needle-like teeth are great for gripping, But they're not designed for crushing shells or tearing through tough hide. So they stick to squid, rat-tailed fish, and other soft-bodied creatures that are abundant in the deep ocean. Size-wise, goblin sharks are respectable but not record-breaking, though some specimens have been recorded at over 18 feet. That's solidly in the big enough to be concerning category, but nowhere near the size of a great white or a whale shark. Then again, they don't need to be massive. Their jaw mechanism gives them a reach advantage that most sharks can't match. One of the most fascinating aspects of goblin sharks is how little we actually know about them. Despite being discovered in 1898, they remain one of the most mysterious sharks in the ocean. We don't know how they reproduce. We don't know their lifespan. We don't know their population numbers or whether they migrate. Pretty much everything about their behavior in the wild is speculation based on the handful of times humans have encountered them. What we do know is that they're ovoviparous, meaning the eggs hatch inside the female and she gives birth to live young. But how many pups? How often? What do newborn goblin sharks look like? No idea. Nobody has ever seen a pregnant goblin shark or witnessed one giving birth. The first goblin shark ever scientifically described was caught off the coast of Japan in 1898. A fisherman pulled it up in his nets and, presumably after several minutes of confused screaming, brought it to a scientist named David Starr Jordan. Jordan took one look at this pink abomination and decided to name it Mitsukurina ostoni, after the collector who brought it to him, and Kikichi Mitsukuri, a Japanese zoologist. The common name goblin shark came later, probably because someone looked at it and thought, yep, that's definitely a goblin. Honestly, for decades after its discovery, goblin sharks were considered extremely rare. Only a handful of specimens were collected, mostly from Japanese waters. Scientists assumed they might be endemic to that region. In the 1970s and 80s, specimens started showing up elsewhere: Australia, South Africa, the Gulf of Mexico, Portugal. It became clear that goblin sharks weren't rare. They were just really good at avoiding humans. And can you blame them? In the handful of cases where live goblin sharks have been brought to the surface, they don't do well. The pressure change, the temperature difference, the light. It's all wrong for them. Most die within hours, if not minutes. A few aquariums have attempted to keep them, but success has been limited. The longest a goblin shark has survived in captivity is a few days. They're just too specialized for deep water life. This makes studying them incredibly difficult. You can't just go to an aquarium and watch goblin sharks go about their day. Every bit of information we have comes from dead specimens, accidental catches, or extremely rare footage from deep-sea submersibles. It's like trying to understand human behavior by only studying people who got hit by cars. You're not getting the full picture, but what we have learned paints a picture of a supremely adapted deep-sea predator. That bizarre appearance? All function. The pink color is irrelevant in the dark. The elongated snout is a sophisticated sensory organ. The soft, flabby body reduces the energy needed to maintain buoyancy. The protrusible jaws are a hunting tool that gives it an edge in an environment where food is scarce and every meal counts. In the deep ocean, resources are limited. Unlike the sunlit surface waters where photosynthesis pumps energy into the ecosystem, the deep sea is largely dependent on food falling from above. Dead fish, whale carcasses, marine snow. Predators in this environment have to be efficient. They can't waste energy chasing prey that might get away. The goblin shark's solution is elegant in its simplicity. Don't chase. Wait. Sense. Strike. The jaw protrusion gives it a crucial advantage. It can attack from slightly farther away than other predators, increasing its success rate. In an environment where you might go days or weeks between meals, that advantage can mean the difference between survival and starvation. There's also something almost prehistoric about the goblin shark's hunting method. It feels ancient, and it is. Fossils of goblin shark ancestors show that this jaw mechanism has been around for over 125 million years. The basic body plan hasn't changed much either. When you find something that works this well, evolution tends to leave it alone. Compare that to great white sharks, which have been around for about 16 million years, who've only been here for about 300,000 years. The goblin shark has been perfecting its craft since the Middle Cretaceous period. It was already ancient when the first primates showed up, and it's still here, still hunting in the dark, still launching its face at unsuspecting prey. In a world that's constantly changing, where species go extinct every day. There's something oddly comforting about the goblin shark's persistence. It found its niche and stuck with it. No drama, no fuss, just millions of years of doing the same thing because it works. Of course, being mysterious and elusive doesn't make you immune to human activity. Goblin sharks are occasionally caught as bycatch in deep-sea fishing operations. Trawlers dragging nets along the ocean floor sometimes pull them up accidentally. Usually, they're dead by the time they reach the surface. The lucky ones get thrown back, though their chances of survival after that kind of trauma aren't great. The International Union for Conservation of Nature lists the goblin shark as least concern, which sounds good until you realize it's mostly because we don't know enough about them to properly assess their status. They could be thriving. They could be declining. We have no idea. The deep ocean is the largest habitat on Earth, and it's also the least explored. We've mapped more of the moon's surface than we have of our own ocean floor. This lack of knowledge cuts both ways. On one hand, it means goblin sharks might be doing just fine in the vast, unexplored depths. On the other hand, it means we wouldn't know if they were in trouble until it was too late. Deep-sea ecosystems are fragile. They're adapted to stable conditions that have remained relatively constant for millions of years. Rapid changes, like those caused by climate change or deep-sea mining, could have devastating effects that we wouldn't notice until the damage was done. But for now, somewhere in the dark depths of the ocean, a goblin shark is drifting along the bottom. Its rostrum is sweeping back and forth, scanning for the faint electrical signals of prey. It's patient. It's been doing this for longer than most species have existed. When it detects something, it will move in slowly, deliberately, and then its face will explode forward in a blur of teeth and cartilage. Another meal secured. Another day survived in the abyss. The goblin shark doesn't know it's weird. It doesn't know humans think it looks like a nightmare. It's just doing what its ancestors have done for 125 million years. And honestly, that's kind of beautiful. In a horrifying face-launching sort of way. The ocean is full of strange creatures, but few embody the alien nature of the deep sea quite like the goblin shark. It's a reminder that we share this planet with things we barely understand, living in places we rarely see, using mechanisms we're only beginning to comprehend. That protrusible jaw isn't just a cool biological trick, it's a window into the incredible diversity of solutions that evolution has produced. It's proof that nature is far more creative than any science fiction writer. So next time you're swimming in the ocean, take comfort in the fact that goblin sharks live thousands of feet below you. In a world of crushing darkness where your biggest concerns are traffic and taxes, separated by depth and pressure, united by the fact that we're all just trying to make it through another day. Though if you ever do encounter a goblin shark in the wild, maybe keep your distance. That jaw has been refined over millions of years to be as effective as possible. And you're just soft, slow, and completely unprepared for your face to suddenly be somewhere it wasn't a fraction of a second ago.